Greetings gamers everywhere, I'm Sweepin92 and we're back with another Soulstone Survivors build, and this one we're going for a chilly and icy build. This is the Arcane Weaver and we're going with a Frost Beam build, so we're gonna have to use the Frost Beam weapon, of course. This weapon comes together with the Ice Shield ability as well, and of course we're gonna start off with the runes so that you know what you're gonna have before you jump into a run. Now this build is actually, I think, a new record for me because this one killed the Void King faster than the Mechanist and the Heat Explosion build I had there, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know how far you can get with this if you went for a eternal run or endless run, but this build is effective. Let's get into it. First off, you're gonna need or use the Weapon Expert rune, of course, and then after that you're gonna have the Reroll Mastery, and for the third rune I had Arduous Training, mostly because I wanted to get the level 170 with the Arcane Weaver, which I was not at the time of playing. So this one increased the prestige gain by 40%. Of course, this can be changed if you need something else like materials or anything. Very effective though. And the next one I went with Enduring Cold, which makes it so that every time you trigger Icy Veins, you have a chance that Icy Veins will not be consumed, the stacks. Icy Veins is a stackable buff that will stack every time you use an ability that will give you Icy Veins as a buff. Now the only ability that does that is your Frost Beam ability, but as you will have a multicast chance and, well, it's gonna trigger like every second, you're gonna get those stacks up pretty quickly. And what Icy Veins does is that when you use cast skill, you will consume 12 stacks of Icy Veins to launch icicles towards the random enemies and cause damage and apply slow. Now, that is the key word, applying slow. We're gonna get into that when we get to the abilities, but first off, let's move on to the next rune, which is Absolute Zero, which increases your critical damage by 50% for 5 seconds whenever you consume a stack of Icy Veins. Handy little side damage there, I think. It's not game breaking, but it's doable. Focus Fire, of course, increased damage, decreased area. Easy to balance out. And then we have increases your synchrony, which increases your damage by 0.7% for each skill of your skills you have in common, or skills that having things in common, up to a maximum of 20%. Now, as with any other build I have done, this is not set in stone. These runes are not set in stone. If you have any other preference that you think will work with this build, feel free to use that. Now let's go over the abilities. First of all, Frost Beam is your main damage thing, as you can see here in the end screen, with 520 billion damage. Now the second source of damage is Icy Vortex, which is 360 billion damage. Both of these abilities do deal damage on enemies based on the amount of slow on them. So the more slow stacks on an enemy, the more damage they will deal, which is probably why the Void King got up to 9,000 stacks and then just died in the third phase with 100 billion HP. So yeah, this build is extremely effective, especially against enemies who are a little bit stationary, I guess. Now, why these specific abilities? Well, we have the Ice Shield, which is very good. Avalanche, which is basically snowballs that you're shooting in front of you. And then we have Glacier, which is basically ice comets. And Might for additional damage. Now, Ice Vortex is pretty self-explanatory, but it also applies slow, Avalanche applies slow, your Ice Shield applies slow, and Glacier applies slow. And that's the key thing. I believe the passive Mana Beam ability that you get from your weapon, if you have upgraded it a certain way, also apply slow. So yeah, it's the slow effect from abilities that you want. So Glacier is an ability that you can definitely change maybe, or Avalanche, or both of them, if you have an ability that is more effective at covering an area. But I wanted a more directional one with the Avalanche, because if I want to kill a Lord of the Void or a Titan, I want to apply a large amount of slow in a very short amount of time. Directional abilities are more likely to apply that very quickly, especially with multicast chance and such. You also have the passive that you most probably will pick up during the way, which is all your abilities apply slow. Now, all of your abilities, attacking abilities, already apply slow, but I believe with this passive they will have a can apply additional slow each time they deal damage. So instead of adding 1 stack, they can add 2 stacks, for example. But of course they will add a lot more stacks than that. Moving on. Might is of course just the additional damage, which is very effective. I got it to upgrade to level 18, and the only thing you want to do there is reduce the cooldown so that it's up all the time, increase the cast frequency so that it's up all the time. As soon as it goes off cooldown, it should be applied again, or preferably applied before the duration is done, so that it's always on. And of course increase the potential, or not the, is it the potential? I think it's called something else, but I've lost the word right now, but increase the damage that it deals, basically, or the damage that it will apply to your damage. The base damage is 50% extra damage, but at level 18 I think I had over 300% extra damage there. Of course, overall damage to your Frost Beam and Ice Vortex is prioritized. Area is very good as well, because the more area, the more the Glacier and Ice Vortex abilities will hit more enemies. I'm not sure if area actually applies anything to Frost Beam and Ice Shield. Maybe Ice Shield deals a bit of area damage when it explodes, because that's how it works. It basically rotates around you. As it connects to an enemy, it will explode, apply slow and such. The more area you have, maybe the bigger the explosion is. I don't know. Although, when you want to kill a strong enemy quickly, be close to them, because if with Ice Shield, multicast and such, you're gonna have so many shields and it's gonna apply a slow every time it hits. It's gonna be... I think it's one of the biggest appliers of slow, at least in a very short amount of time, because you can have about a dozen shields around you, depending on the multicast chance. It's pretty insane. Now, of course, overall damage, I had a bunch of crit chance, critical damage, that's always nice. I had some modifier cast frequency as well, because you want to use your abilities as much as you can, of course. I don't think I picked anything in the defensive area. I didn't pick any extra health as far as I remember, nor any armor or damage reduction or block. Experience is always nice, extra experience of course, because you want to get those levels up to get as strong as possible. Movement speed is always good, because it's basically adding additional dodge if you're fast enough. Anything else? Well, I don't think so. I mean, we're pretty much covered everything here. Just get your abilities quicker, faster, stronger, bigger, you know? And the Void King will go down like a brick. And if you want, just keep on going after that. I will say this in this video, I should have maybe have mentioned this earlier, but a lot of the videos or builds I've been using actually have used the higher tiered weapons, which is, I think they're all locked at rank 70. I didn't have this problem with many of my characters because most of my characters already was at that level when these additional weapons came, but I believe many of the weapons are tied to level 70 for the maximum, level 50 for the second to last, or third weapon I should say. So yeah, you have to get to at least 50 or 70 for many of my builds before you can actually do this, but considering the amount of experience you gain from completing just one of these void hunts, or titan hunts, I mean, even at early stages, you're gonna get to that level pretty quickly. It would be interesting to see what kind of levels you could get from just doing the first one at a completely new account or new save file. I think I'm gonna actually do a video on that because that would be interesting to see. What kind of XP can you expect from a completed Titan hunt? Well, not completed. Well, yes, completed. Completed in the first stage, that is, on a completely new account. Can you even do that? Because I wonder if the skill tree damage and all that will play a big role there. Anyway, that's been this ice build for the Arcane Weaver, and it's really effective. I've been Swippin92, have a great life, and I hope to see you in future videos. Stay frosty! I couldn't resist, sorry. Yeah. Someone's gonna haunt me for that. Bye bye.
You have no idea.